You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored.
Well, hello there, Dirty. Oh, yeah, it's not too bad. I get up each day with a brand new challenge, and I'm looking forward to facing it. There's still talk out here about you returning to prison. We're really sad to see that happen, and we're going to offer our support to help you get through all of this, and hopefully we'll find something that will work, and you'll never have to go back. Oh my goodness, Dirty, that is terrible news. I am so sad to hear that. I am so sorry for your loss. Drug overdose, that is terrible. And it's something that could have been avoided too. Well, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. I know. It just has not been a good month for you. Your friends betray you, and you wind up violating probation, going back to prison, and then you find out that your cousin dies of an overdose. It's just, yeah, 1-2 punch. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. You've learned a lot, and you've come a long way since the day I met you. And you have a massive amount of support, and there's people there that will bend over backwards to help you out, and considering all that you've been through, I can understand it rubbing off on you. Your cousin really looked up to you. You guys had a very good time together, but I don't know if I would necessarily blame the overdose on you going back to prison. But I will say one thing, it is a possibility. We can't rule it out. It is a possibility that had you not gone back to prison, your cousin would still be alive. Well, were you able to call her from prison, to check up, to let her know that you were still thinking about her? Oh, yeah. 3 days ago, huh? And she was doing okay? Was she saying anything about missing you terribly or anything like that? Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry that happened. But don't feel guilty. That life throws a lot of punches at you, and there's a lot of times that it's really tough to get back up after you fall, and there's some things in life that are just going to go on with or without you. And just imagine what it'd be like if you hadn't have gone back to prison, and if your cousin did die of an overdose. Maybe you go over and visit, play a board game, watch a movie, and then when you go home, you get up the next day to find out that she died of an overdose.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Well, okay. If there is there anything you want to do, I guess I could probably send some flowers in your name or something. Okay. Yeah, well, stay strong. Do the best you can. There's a lot going on in life, and we need you to be at your best. I don't want to see anything happen to you, and make sure you reach out.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Make sure you tell everybody that you love them. You got a lot of family out here that wants you to succeed, and they need you in their life, and so just send a letter. make a call. Okay, yeah. When you need to talk, just let me know. Okay. Yeah, you're... Oh, okay, hey, look. I love you too. Okay. That was a call from Dirty. Now, Dirty recently returned to prison because she got caught up in the wrong crowd and was involved in a love triangle, and one of the girls involved in the triangle was jealous and decided to pull a fast one on poor Dirty, and Dirty fell for it. And of course, this other girl won, and Dirty was pulled out of the triangle. And while she is feeling very low and her self-esteem is just about gone, she gets news that her cousin, who looked up to her and that they grew up together, spent a lot of time facing challenges and overcoming obstacles, leaning on each other, and they were there for each other for the longest time. And her cousin succumbs to the terrible, wicked attacker, and she died of a drug overdose. Now, it couldn't have come at a worse time, because Dirty is feeling pretty bad as it is. And then to get this news. And, of course, she wants to call somebody and talk about it. And she chose to call me. And she's got friends and family and a big supportive relationship out here. So, I'm not the only one that she could have called, and I'm probably not the only one that she will call. And that's good, because she'll be able to express her feelings and take a little bit of the pain off. It's just that that's one of the downfalls about being in prison. Whatever the reason, a person goes to prison and then they miss children growing up, parents, friends, close relatives. They could die, and a lot of them aren't able to go to the funeral. A lot of them aren't able to pay their respects, and it's just a terrible thing to miss out on that, because that's an event that happens that can never be returned. Or regained, and you can never recover from it. And so, when in the future, when she thinks back to when her dear friend, cousin passed away, she was locked up and couldn't help prevent it. And of course, she's feeling a little guilty, because she thinks that if she hadn't gone back to prison, her cousin would still be alive. Yet she did say she just recently spoke to her cousin and everything seemed fine. And so, there could be any number of reasons that her friend decided to take too much drugs. And one of the things I've learned from addicts and former addicts is that people who are addicted to a drug know their limits. And so, if an addict decides to shoot up and becomes, reaches that high, then they know the limit and they know when to quit. And so a lot of addicts will tell me that, as even though the headlines show that it was a drug overdose, or the official word is that it was a drug overdose, it may not have been accidental. Some of these addicts, they just get so caught up in using the substance that they get to the point where they just give up. And so rather than take what's just enough to get them the rush that they're looking for, they decide to go for that extra hit, and it just gets them in the end. I don't know. Maybe this was the case. Maybe her cousin got some devastating news. Maybe she was feeling bad that she had the addiction. Maybe she didn't feel that her future looked bright. There's some things we'll just never know. What we do know is that these situations can be prevented, and we just got to keep an eye out for it. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be there, have to keep checking up on the person, overwhelm the person, but it could mean that we need to intervene and get the person into treatment. And it could mean that there's a problem that's so deep that we may have to work a little harder and be a little more supportive to try to get the cause out, to get this person to reveal what's going on. I'd hate for this overdose to be discovered to be a suicide. And in some instances, people will take the drugs and it's laced with something that they weren't aware of. And so they could be taking it, not getting that rush that they're looking for, and then keep taking it again and put more and more in there until this new substance takes over. Either way, it's tragic. It's not something those of us who are left behind really want to deal with. And fortunately, not everybody in the United States or even in the world has to deal with a loved one dying from a drug overdose. But for a lot of addicts and people who are incarcerated and former incarcerated people, that's a lot of their friends. They hang out with folks that are heavy users. And a person dying of an overdose really isn't something new in their life. It's just a fact of life for them. And that's just not good. And that's something that we could work to prevent. We can help restore hope and find alternate methods of dealing with situations. So and once again, not everybody can be fixed in the same manner. What could cause Dirty to go into an overdose may not necessarily have been the issue with her cousin. And maybe her cousin was just set on using drugs no matter what. I've seen people go through rehab. I've seen them hang out with their close friends. I've seen them even restore a past relationship, something where they were happy, and they look like they're in a good mood. It's just that drug keeps calling them back over and over and over again. And we'll never know unless you sit down and talk to somebody who was in that position. Like the old saying goes, you need to walk a mile in their shoes to understand them. Fortunately, we don't have to get addicted to a drug to understand it. We just sit down and talk to the person. What's it like? What pushed you over the edge? Why did you succumb to this? And there's professionals out there who could sit and talk with these folks and find a way to overcome this addiction. And then we'll have a lot to celebrate. 10 years clean, 20 years clean. I haven't touched a drug in over 40 years. These are nice things to hear. And we just got to keep trying. Eventually, it will come to an end. And we can either pat ourselves on the back or we can learn from it. It's just that we need to talk. We need to reach out. We need to at least try something. It's not a waste when you go all in and the person succumbs to their addiction because you learn something. You walk away a wiser person and you have a story to share with folks who are going through that. Of course, the greater victory, the greater success is when you are actually able to help the person overcome this addiction. And that's our biggest goal. So we're not going to reach that if we stop trying. So thanks for tuning in and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts and opinions with you. Have a great day and go out and make wonderful memories for tomorrow.